time for Behind the Short Line. I've got handball player Naty Alvarado Jr. with me. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you.
How old were you when you first picked up that handball?
Let's see. I'm pretty sure I was maybe 5 years old when I hit my first ball, but started...
No, I was thinking like 5 months.
Oh.
There's no way your dad waited till you were 5.
Yeah, no. He never asked us to play. He never, if we went to the tournaments, that's about it. But it wasn't something he made sure that we did. He just let us do it on our own.
For those people who don't know, your father is a handball great. You grew up in the sport, have done tremendous, had a great career yourself. What do you look back on now and really treasure about those moments that you had with your dad growing up and learning how to play the sport?
Really, I guess somewhere towards the middle of high school is when I decided to play it full-time, I guess, is in a sense. I stopped all other sports, and just those drives to the club, talking here and there about certain things. But when I started playing Kara, he was in the middle of his descent as a handball champion. So, he was still at heart very committed to the sport. So really conversations were not too in-depth because he was still trying to hang on. So, it was a good experience, but at the same time, it was one where I knew to stay back and let him finish his career the way he wanted to.
What did you respect most about your dad during that time, seeing him struggle to keep a family and play handball and bring it all together?
Yeah, that's really it. For as long as I had known, that was our income. So it was his sacrifice, getting up in the morning, making his runs, and then dieting and playing and training, all that stuff. That part I respect because he didn't give up until he knew it was time to give up.
I think for a lot of children of athletes, it's hard though as well. You see a lot of people to give up because there's so much pressure, and depending on what the parent is like. But a lot of people say, oh, I won't do that to my child. But no matter what, you're put in the realms of a top player. What was it like for you growing up?
Kara, it wasn't bad. He's a very quiet person, which is the opposite of what he is now. He's a little more boisterous and more relaxed, but back in those days he was very, not uptight, but he was very centered in his thoughts with what he wanted to do for the next event. So, it was, I don't want to say it was a bad thing, but it wasn't exactly, we walked on eggshells a lot, put it to you that way.
What do you think you got from him?
That same bad part. Just even coming here, we're a little more uptight, we're tense, and the minute something doesn't fit, we kind of lash out at that person, and I had to deal with that today, and I felt bad about it, but it's just, this tournament mentality just makes you kind of batty.
But for you at this time, I know you're talking about this may be your last tournament, so that brings a whole different set of emotions. That how much of it is that pressure on yourself, knowing that, oh gosh.
Yeah, you know what? I saw that Kobe Bryant game and I thought, my goodness, what a way to go out. But at the same time, that was something that was abnormal. And it's at this point, for me, just basically walk out of the court without an injury, saying some goodbyes to some people that I grew up with, and it'll be easy, I think, at that point. So I'm not putting that kind of pressure to win the tournament. I'm just here to kind of see some old friends and you yourself and the staff, and just kind of walk away from it.
Yeah, how has this whole adventure been? I mean, you've seen it grow from now, you can watch it live on ESPN3.
Oh my goodness. On the flight, I wrote down some notes about 1988 to present. And there's such a huge change what the WPH Live has done on top of what Fred Banfield has given to this game. Simple Green on the same token. So we saw a point where pro handball was almost deserted, and now it seems very energetic and in a great direction.
Walking away from the professional part of it, are you still going to coach? What are you hoping to do? How are you hoping to keep it still part of your life?
Good question. I don't know. I'll play some golf. That's what I love doing. Just as much, the same amount of love I have for handball, I have for golf now. I'm not quite sure. Wherever they call on me, if I'm up to doing it, I may do that.
You've been in this for so long now, but having a family now and having to balance everything that your dad did, going through traveling and having your wife along with you, 3 beautiful girls, being a dad, you've always been the most physically fit person out there, so I can't imagine how much that's taken on you as well. But what's that been like, the whole transition from just being a kid playing, doing really well as a junior, coming along and now being
You know what? One of the things I forgot to mention is the fitness part of the sport that my dad seemed to really thrive on. And for me, that's something that it's just part of my daily routine now. I love going to the gym. In fact, when I don't go to the gym, I feel like I didn't accomplish something that day. So the gym will always be a part of my life, and because of handball, it's kind of structured my workouts. So that part I enjoy. But work and family, they're number one right now. And the girls are at a very important age. So we got really lucky with Marissa. She did an excellent job in her walk, and we just kind of want to make sure we're there for the two middle childs.
Married for 20 years?
Yeah.
Secret?
Yeah. Give and take. You're going to argue. That's going to happen. But at the end of the day, you've got to make sure that you apologize and you move forward. It's the only way it works. It can't be a one-sided affair. It doesn't work.
I show up to Simple Green, the U.S. Open of Handball. I mean, your family is so wonderful. You feel like you know everyone.
Yeah.
And Carrie, your wife, is incredible. As far as her walking in and this whole handball realm of things, do you think that's been hard for her and on the family at all, or?
Yeah.
You guys as green as it seems.
Well, yeah,
I don't
no.
want to be married in your family.
No. I mean, we get along together very well, and basically because we see each other a lot. And I think we have understood or understand that you have to be flexible with one another because we have different personalities, but everybody knows each other's weaknesses and strong points, and so we're balancing that. We know when to back off, and we know when to keep going with it. So we tease a lot. It's a lot of laughter at the Simple Green and a lot of stress. My oldest sister, Loopy, which you know and you hear her, but she's and my mother, but my sister's kind of the general back there, and she's, you can tell when she's done. So, but the balance is fine.
Any fear of hanging it up for a while? I'm going to say for a while because I don't even want to think about forever, but is there any kind of thing that you're scared of missing too much? Or?
Already knowing that, preparing for an event, you have this different type of enthusiasm in the gym, and it's hard to replicate those types of workouts. So that part I know is going to be the biggest void. I can feel that, but the people. This sport is unique in its own, but the people are so, the word is, it should be a really bad, stinking nice. I mean, it's unbelievable how nice our group of handball players are. And that's my biggest fear, that I'm going to miss these good times with these good people.
How neat has it been though to be been around as long as you have, that you see, Paul Brady coming up, and then you see Emmett, and he, was 16 or however old he was, and now he has, a wife and is going through what you went through so many years ago. It must be pretty cool.
No, it is. That's a good point. I played Emmett. I think the first time we met, he was 11, and we were on the court hitting it around. And yeah, you see this evolving man. And all of the guys I started playing with or saw as juniors now playing with them today. And you can see some of their younger tendencies, but now they're more mature, and it's just life, and it's beautiful to watch that.
So why now for you? Why do you think this is it?
I think the hardest thing for me was accepting that maybe you don't have to achieve your goals to necessarily close a book, I guess, athletically anyway. I think at some point you have to just move on, and you can get stuck and make things worse off. So it's better to say, hey, maybe this wasn't how you pictured it, but man, it's been a pretty picture,
What is the biggest picture that you've seen? The one that goes through your head the most, the best memory?
Best memory. That's always a tough question for me. I always get jammed with that because I think every tournament has something that's like it impacted me in one way or another, whether it was a miserable defeat or a great victory. But maybe that's funny. That'll be tough.
You're going to be missed a ton. I know you know that. Your whole family is the heart of this sport so much, in so many ways, and you show a ton of passion.
They're all good memories. I guess specifically there was a good one. We were driving home from Concord, I forget the year, maybe 2000, 2001. My dad was driving and John was in the passenger seat, and I had just, by winning that match, I mathematically took over the #1 ranking from David Chapman. And so maybe that was the biggest, because David was my arch rival, and it just took me forever to beat him. And it was just taking that #1 ranking from him for a short period of time that, to me, maybe it was a big push for me, saying that, you know, you belong here, keep up the effort. And that was probably the biggest moment. But that may be the best memory, one of them.
Kind of shows too. I mean, handball's a sport, but to you, it's a ton more than that.
Yeah. It's a family tradition. You know, what my dad did from 77 to 90, 91, 90, sorry, was one of the greatest feats in any sport that on record for handball especially. But so yeah, trying to make sure I didn't tarnish what he accomplished. I feel like I did, but at the same time there were so many good moments off the court that wasn't too big of a deal.
When you do walk away, what do you hope you left your stamp on?
Oh gosh, trying to keep the sport moving. You know, anytime we had issues with pro handball, I felt like I was in there as a support group or someone to talk to, someone to shed ideas with. And I sat with Jim Pashot in a lot of those PHA meetings in the beginning, and then Dave Vincent and we exchanged tons of phone calls and conversations and dreams and what the sport should be. And so I just want to make sure that people know that, you know, I just wasn't a player that came here and showed up to try to win and take money, but really here to make sure that the sport continued to stay professional and continue to grow.
Any dreams you think you're going to have in the future? Thinking back on handball, any dreams that you have now, those that haunt you? Or?
Yeah, and that's kind of the funny thing you say that, because those are one of the reasons I wake up in the morning and say, okay, I'm going to play. I had a dream that I was playing handball. This is a sign I've got to do it. And then I go through the grind of it, and it's like, this really isn't, it's not worth it anymore. So yeah, I mean, I doubt that I'll stop dreaming about a certain handball shot and wake up in the morning and realize, no, it was just a dream.
Congratulations on moving on and everything that you've done. Your family's awesome, and the girls are so polite and so sweet, and you're a role model to a ton of people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us.